Look at that. We had not expecting a ton of people, given how late I did this, but it is what it is. Got the good old Weather Channel Storm Center music. All right, a few people to come in. Get going here in a second. How we all doing? How we all doing? Again, just a heads up. Okay, I am not a severe weather expert. Now I know you probably came into this thinking you want to listen to my thoughts, but I'm not anything special. I'm not anything special when it comes to play this out one more time. I'm not anything special. Okay, not anything special. Just some simple analysis. I'll give some of my thoughts on the setup. I mean, obviously, it stands for itself that this is a moderate risk. So this is a very serious event. I don't want to take away from the music, but so this is going to be a legit event. Remember there's fail safe modes and all of these. So we have to be day one out. So these aren't always, they don't always work out exactly how we think they are. That's how it works across weather in general, for the most part. But this is going to be serious. It's going to be a serious one. Probably something people remember. Just if you know a lot about the weather already, it's pretty self-explanatory. But for my folks who don't as much, this is going to be a pretty serious event. All right. Now that we got that, let's do Christmas music. Christmas music is always relaxing. And I'm an idiot. Always have to do one last thing. All right. Here we go. Let's get going. So we do have a moderate risk, like I mentioned. In effect, it's a tornado-driven moderate risk, meaning we have 2, 5, 10, 15, 30, 45, 60, and black. Significant. Those are our contours for when it comes to tornadoes. So what this basically means is this is 4 out of 5. Okay, because once we get to 30%, that's 4. We're at 4 to 5 level. This is just even higher. Okay. So and sometimes we can get wind-driven moderate risks where we have a massive strong hatched area for a big time wind-driven event where typical a lot of times in duration. Hail looks like they added a hatched area and up to 30% now for the risk of hail. So it looks like some pretty significant hail is going to be present as well. And this is not just going to be me going off the Storm Prediction Center as well. For some of the folks that may or may not show up, that's fine. We'll be going into some of the models as well. But I think a brief summary, especially we just got a new outlook that just came out as well. So might as well go over it in Storm Prediction Center. Not too many brighter minds to be able to get some information from break this down for you guys. But like I mentioned, this is a tornado-driven event. So their Storm Prediction Center is highlighting this hatched area for tornadoes, meaning the hatched area indicates there's a chance for strong tornadoes, significant tornadoes. So this is not just when they bring up the hatched for tornadoes. This is It's always a very serious event. Not that it can't be when it's not hatched, but it's an indicator that this is a very serious event. It's a good thing to know as well. I tweeted this out earlier. Strong tornadoes and tornadoes in general can happen outside of the hatched area. Okay, it is not contained to only the hatched areas where the strongest tornadoes form. Many times we've seen maybe not the strongest one on the setup, but strong tornadoes happen outside the area where the storm prediction center highlighted. This is just the highest probability area for where the environment will be most conducive for strong tornadoes. And some of the areas highlighted, some pretty populated areas. Jackson, Mississippi. I think Memphis was Did they bring Memphis out of it? Memphis, it looks like, is now in the enhanced area. Memphis looks like they pulled down the moderate risk. They pulled it down a little bit for earlier today. It looks like in the day one, I think they had it all the way up into Memphis, and they pulled it down. It's like a little W right there for NatoCast, at least until we'll see verification wise. Because we do have to worry. One thing we could have to worry about um, is we're not the outbreak. The best chance for strong tornadoes is not going to be when we have our best kinematics. So those those two aren't going to line up perfectly. And when I say kinematics, we're talking wind shear, strongest wind profiles, because you need strong wind shear, especially in the local jet. 850 low level jet is always super key. We're looking at these tornado outbreaks. Super crucial because, right, these tornadoes have heavy, strong winds they produce and great rotation. So you need different strong, strong wind shear in the atmosphere to be able to create strong tornadoes. Adds up. It makes sense. So without that, it's harder to get big time tornado events or just tornado events in general, just like we have here going on tomorrow. Cool. Let's take a quick scroll here through some of the thoughts. Yeah, so they're highlighting 40-50 knot southwesterly low level jet. So that is plenty for a low level jet. 40-50 knots is definitely going to get the job done to be able to create strong tornadoes. We have good moisture as well. I did check those dew. I did check some of those dew points earlier. They're sound. I checked some sound. It looks like dew points are going to be in the low 70s for some spots, which is beautiful. And the Cape values are also. Here's what concerns me about this event is a lot of times when we have this is not a super high Cape event, right? It's probably a lot of areas 750 to 1500 joules probably of Cape. Um, and what actually a lot of people will, right? You need more instability to create thunderstorms and tornadoes. Well, yes, that's true in a sense. But for tornado outbreaks, if you have too much convection surrounding the area, if you create too much convection, you can prevent a discrete storm mode from taking place. And it's basically you're just making a widespread convection and you're turning it into a straight line wind event. And you're not taking advantage of the environment that's conducive for tornadoes, or not to the extent. You can still get tornadoes in those. You can get QLCS tornadoes. Or, you see little kinks in the line on the radar, those are QLCS tornadoes. So, but actually, a lot of times, some of these lower Cape values can be more productive for a discrete storm mode. And then we have strong kinematics to go along with that. It's kind of a recipe for it's actually there's a fine line you have to meet in order to create big time tornadoes in a big time tornado outbreak. And there's a lot of pieces just in general at a surface level look. We have 40, 50 knot low level jet, low 70 dew points, and know, well, most of the area in 750 to 1500 joules of Cape. Cape, remember, it's convective available potential energy. So that's our instability to work with. So this is, I think there's some pieces to the puzzle here that, that some of my thoughts coming in here before. I just, reading over to you guys the most recent update on what they're seeing in terms of what's likely to happen. We add what they're talking about as well, and combine it to my knowledge of what I know of severe weather, which isn't amazing. Like I've tried to specify to you guys, compare it relative. I mean, it's don't get me wrong. I know a little bit of what I'm talking about, but relative, you have plenty of timber. I'm not even close to that level, but they have also studied it for decades and storm chased it for decades, so it makes sense. And we will have, there will be a threat for some large hail as well, because take a look at some stats here. Around here. See, I mean, they just HRR a lot of Cape. Maybe too much. I don't know about too much. Let's take a sounding in. And here, when we look at soundings, things we look for, right? We talked about moisture, 69-degree dew point, plenty. It's small, a little inversion here, right? Suggestive. We could get some hail, just based on this particular sounding I took in like west central Mississippi. Right, so 1600 joules of Cape, plenty, small cap. It's actually good for tornado development because if you don't have any cap, and especially if you have a big time instability numbers, if you have like 4,000 joules of Cape and you have no cap, then you can potentially create a non-discrete storm mode, and then you just create more of a straight line wind event. Just something tornado chasers don't want, but it's not something the people being affected by are gonna want to look for. Another thing we look at too is our winds, our veering and backing of the winds. So we start our winds here, and as we get closer to the surface, we can start to, this is some of that rotation we talk about, and we get different winds moving in different directions at the surface. Then, go from east northeast, northeast to southwest, and then we back these winds to the south and almost to the south southeast. So what that means is we're creating. This is what we looking for: rotating thunderstorms. We're looking for winds that are changing directions throughout the atmosphere. And if you it kind of shows some of these wind bars here. I like this overlay. Delete. Okay, look, we'll bring up this one again. But you can see here's notice it shows you different wind bars at different levels of the atmosphere. So we can look at here. I forget the exact. I'm assuming 500, 850 in surface. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I'm assuming. And so we have different winds changing different directions throughout the levels of the atmosphere. That's a good sign for when we're looking for tornadoes and potentially rotating thunderstorms. I think I took my sounding right around here. That's not where I took my sounding. Did I take it here? Yeah. So I think it's close. And also we look at photographs. Right? We typically look for a critical angle close to 90. That's typically what we look for, the closest. It's not but this is not going to take away from this not being a significant tornado outbreak still. And notice we're plotting different, right? This is plotting, this photograph is plotting the strength of the winds at different levels of the atmosphere. And so we're looking at it. I mean, we have 40 knot, uh, I think this is, yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've looked at severe weather stuff. It should be great in my brain right now. It is what it is. And so a lot of times what we look for in these photographs, we look for big wavy photographs, but also turns and little kinks and pivots. Because remember, we look for winds coming from different directions, and we need strong kinematics. Okay, so wind shear is for me. And I don't know for me, but based on what I've seen, from what I've learned from other people over the years, is kinematics and the wind shear are super important, and I think more important than Cape. So a lot of people that look at thunderstorms, they look at our instability and say, well, so 50, 14, 1500 joules a Cape. That's not a super high amount. Yes, that's true, but look at our helicity values, our wind shear values, right? 42 knot surface to 3 kilometers. That's strong low level wind shear that we're working with here in the atmosphere. And these helicity values, typically once you get 250, 350, that's when we start to look at the risk for strong tornadoes. And these are plenty valuable. I mean, we're looking at 350, 440 joules, sorry, helicity values, which is plenty. Let's see. Let's progress it a little bit. Let's take progress it. Right, so it is going to move into across Mississippi. I think Mississippi. I mean, this photograph is, I mean, big time photograph right here. Right, wavy, long, going vertical. We have strong wind shear values. I mean, this is right. We're not too contaminated on our sounding, right? Still high 60, low 70 dew points. Small cap is indicative of our discrete storm mode here. I mean, low level wind shear here, 40 to 45 knots. Those are some really I mean, those are good values when we're looking at potential tornado outbreaks. That is plenty for a tornado outbreak. Let's take a look at the NAM here as well. I mean, if we look at, I mean, I just dug in right away. But if we're looking here at 500, we got this. This is what's happening tomorrow. We got this big fort diving in. Go blue, slide here. This big vort diving in here, positively tilted at the time. And out ahead of the trough, this is where our severe outbreak is going to be happening. This big time, right? Upper level low here, and then this vort diving in from Canada. And so this is our system that's going to be creating our severe weather tomorrow. And we're going to be seeing a little bit of a phase with this system. Looks like it's a relatively small phase, but we just have an injection of vorticity right here coming off British Columbia. So we're almost using the North Stream to create another or North Stream combining with our North Stream and getting a little bit of a phase to occur here. And then also with what's left of the upper level low, once that opens back up, we'll see a phase between these two pieces. And looks like it doesn't even open up, so it's not even, it's going to take a little while, it looks like. Eventually. I don't know if it doesn't even look like it fully opened up here. Typically, you need your upper level low this closed off to phase with new vorticity. What we need to see at that point, you need your upper level low to open back up. So it kind of gets shunted off a little bit to the east, and then open up briefly. And then once we see the phase occur, close back up, almost like a new upper level low, kind of old but new. And we create an even stronger system potentially. Sorry, it just clip from Game Winner basketball. Sorry, I'm a big basketball fan, so I watch a lot of basketball. That has nothing to do with severe weather outbreak. Now, whatever the 500 setup, let's look at. If there are any YouTube folks in there with questions, feel free to ask. If not, just enjoy, listen to the Christmas jazz, and listen to maybe the enjoyable or irritating sound of my voice. I guess we can look at moisture. So we are gonna have to watch a squall line that is going to take place across the eastern U.S. as well. That could produce some severe weather, but at the moment, we'll cover tomorrow first. All right, we have plentiful moisture, right? Mid-level moisture, solid. Low-level moisture more important. Low-level moisture, really good. At the surface, I mean, just plentiful. Picking up really across most of the eastern half of the country. And even, I mean, most of the country, we have pretty solid moisture in place here. I mean, just a plume of moisture overtaking a lot of the country tomorrow. So probably will be pretty humid for a lot of the country. I mean, I guess only the Southwest is going to be one of the few spots that's not going to be all that humid tomorrow. A pretty dynamic storm system we have in place that is going to intensify. Remember, we talked about it's going to be pretty windy. It's going to be pretty windy as well across a lot of the region over the next couple of days as well, because we'll see our low pressure take off and strengthen into Canada, and then we'll get our high pressure to build in from the backside, and so we'll create a bit of a pressure gradient in these isobars like we talked about last night, and we'll get some 20, 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts, and then that squall line that's going to be moving through as well along where the front is, that is going to probably create even stronger winds, maybe 40, 50 plus mile per hour wind gusts along the front as that's moving through. I'm going to pull up the sector, and for not that you can get trolled for this, but I want to see like some of these soundings here. So I'm trying to find some of these soundings that Dan was trying to suggest. Yep. All right. Version. Hell, no. Plenty. Nothing crazy. No crazy turning winds. We do, but enough enough for sure that we can for tornadoes, small cap, good instability still around, right? 1,500 joules around is the number we've come across a lot of these soundings, right? These photographs long. So we got close to 40 knot low level wind shear and helicity values up and above 300 as well. So this is yet another sounding. This time in Louisiana and on the NAM as well, or the NAM, but also the HRR across Louisiana. I wonder what the HRI did for Louisiana as well, right? So, and again, a lot of these areas we're looking at, right? East Texas, why scroll to keep turning it on? Like watching a lot of these East Texas area into Louisiana, Mississippi, and even into Alabama. So this is our main target area to watch tomorrow for big time severe weather. This is the main area. And if we're looking for the most significant area for tornadoes to occur, this is probably right here where we're looking at for strongest chance. We're going to point an area. This is probably it for big time tornadoes tomorrow. Highest chance, I'd say. Again, remember, the Storm Prediction Center, when they make these outlooks, you can get big time tornadoes to occur. It's going to be hard close to the. It's going to be hard to get tornadoes close to the coast always because we're so close to the ocean, the marine there. The surface, it's always a little bit difficult. Again, one fail-safe mode like where this could go wrong tomorrow is right next to the Gulf of Mexico here. So if we don't have if the cap that is just really small cap, super small cap, right? It's not a significant cap. But if the small cap that's forecasted doesn't take place as prevalent as that's being suggested, and our Cape values are a little bit higher as well, we can create maybe too much convection and prevent our discrete storm mode from taking place. But I really think our Cape values, our instability values are not all that ridiculous, and I think it works to the disadvantage here for this event potentially. So again, I think we have pretty strong. If we had like a 50-60 knot low level jet, I'd be super concerned. Even this would be like this could be a high risk day potentially. Storm Prevention Center might have tried to go for if we had like a 50-60 knot low level jet. Still though, a 35 to potentially 50 knot low level jet. If we take a look here at our 850s, let's take a look. Ooh, I might want to take a look at this one as well. This one has photographs over locations along with an overlay of Cape values. I like that. I like that pivotal where was I going to go? That's right. These here in the HRR. What was there? Here we go. Will yellow show up nicely? Yes, it will. So this is we're highlighting area of 40 to 50 knot right here. And this is why I think as well, even as we start to see more convection take place, I think you're still going to have to watch out for this northwestern Alabama, southern Tennessee, northeast Mississippi area, Tupelo, Memphis. I think Huntsville's more northeast Alabama. But you know that general area I'm talking about, I think there's still going to be a concern for strong tornadoes, even if we're not in discrete storm mode anymore. Um, even if we're not creating discrete supercells anymore, there still could be a potential a concern for some still strong tornadoes to occur because the hatch risk, remember, still occurs across these areas. But it looks like Storm Prediction Center is holding on the area for our super discrete. I don't know about super is just an adjective, but our best chance for well-defined discrete supercells to occur. It looks like Storm Prediction Center is honing in uh, on possibly development occurring just a little bit sooner, and that way take advantage of that daytime heating. And it looks like they brought it just a little bit south from where it was, but I still think I mean, still, those are some strong. It's a strong low level jet right there, man. 40, 49, 50 knot values right there. I mean, some that's that's an impressive photograph right there, man. Impressive. This is that's a I'm sorry that's a scary sounding right there. That's a scary sound for tornadoes. Small cap, 12, 1300 joules, and the mid-level cape is moving up to 1600. So we're looking at 13 to 1600 joules of instability or cape values there from the surface to mid-levels. And then also look at these back into the winds. Right, notice the turning of the winds as we get to the surface and really full on south southeast winds at the surface. This is not super contaminated too. And look at our helicity values. I mean, yikes, yikes. 400 to 500. I mean, that is a live tweet right here. We'll do. Where did I pull this in? I think I pulled. Where did I pull this sounding from now? Uh, let's find out. Good old live tweet right here. Did I screenshot it? I hope I screenshot it. No, I didn't screenshot that. Oh, this is HRR? Okay. This is not damn. It's okay. Computer's getting angry. You got the mic plugged in. I mean, it is a Mac, so expectations are low. But we got the mic plugged in computer uh, using Google Chrome, which uses more than Safari, and then combine that with streaming from it as well. It's a way to overload your Mac. But luckily, the stream still runs. The streams have never had a problem with lag. I've never heard once heard anybody complain about lagging, which is really good stuff. All right. Let's keep let's keep cooking, shall we? Let's keep going. What were we looking at? We got these. Let's take a look at some more soundings. 3 hour, a 3 hour. That's okay. We'll take another Central Mississippi one. So we looked at the NAM, we looked at the HRR, NAM. Is this the same? It's not the same time frame though. Huh. That's interesting. It's still an impressive sounding. Just cap is a bit too much in offensively. It looks like the HRR has this taking place a little bit sooner than the NAM does. So there are some differences, it looks like, in the modeling. Uh, NAM wants to hold back and really focus on that area. Storm predictions I was highlighting earlier, more that central northern Mississippi area potentially. Um, again, this is not for you. Looks like the NAM is adjusting though. It is adjusting. So, um, I mean, this is still a sounding that could get it done. It's not a ton of instability here, but still around 800. Again, 800 joules at the surface, but we are 1300 joules here at the mid level or mid level cape. So that's still that's I won't say impressive because it's not ridiculous or anything, but it's impressive relative to what's needed here for the tornado outbreak. You can see right back in the winds here out of the southeast. Here we can see the changing of the winds in direction. Still some impressive photographs, right? We're still I think I pulled I think I pulled one that was close to like 48 knots. It's interesting the photograph doesn't quite show it that way. That's okay. No, it does. Still plenty, right? All these sounds we pulled have had, upper 60s, low 70s dew points in terms of moisture, some impressive helicity values. I mean, I know some of this sounds like gibberish for a couple people, but um, these are all stuff that when I look at this, I say, yeah, this is. There hasn't been one thing that I've looked at tonight that has made me and from today. I looked at a lot of some of the stuff earlier today. There hasn't been one moment where I thought, yeah, this doesn't look like a big time tornado outbreak. This, no, this, the screams tornado outbreak tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be good. Uh, again, we could see our fail-safe mode could be potentially where we're able to get a messy storm mode and we convection more convection and we have less of a cap, more widespread convection. At that point, we can maybe inhibit the tornado risk a little bit more. But even if we do get into a messy storm mode, we're still going to have a good shot at seeing significant tornado given our 40 to 50 knot low level jet, and uh, right, we're still going to have one looks like 1,000 to 1,800 joules of cape, somewhere in that range, likely tomorrow. And mid-level cape potentially even higher, potentially 1,500 to 2,000 joules of mid-level cape. So there were around 1,000 to 2,000, depending on the peak time of the event for relative to location. But just impressive stuff. Let's see how it compared to AT&T HRR. I mean, not too different with the low-level jet. A little bit stronger. I mean, even a little bit stronger with the low-level jet here. So, yeah, nothing. Sadly, nothing that makes me go. And NIM is even. I mean, it gets pretty ridiculous there with the low-level jet. I mean, let's see what does the HR have 30 hours out though? It may not be all that different. It is a little bit. It is a little bit. Uh, NAM does go a little bit more potent with the low-level jet, but it's just a little. We don't take it. NAM doesn't looks like it doesn't take advantage of it quite to the extent the HRR does. 51 knot low-level jet. That's plenty. I mean, this sounding is contaminated. Those it's better and long, lengthy photograph. We see this. This is an indicator uh, for for strong tornadoes. This is the kinematics supportive. Cape not great at the moment. A little bit of a cap, but mid-level cape again, 1,300 joules. All these consistently having the mid-level cape a little bit higher than the surface level cape. So still some decent mid-level instability here, but also these 400 to 500 velocity values here. Plenty. And again, that 40 to 50 knot low-level jet that is present. We clicked on here is 50 knots at 815 millibars, which is very impressive. All right, turning the winds. See that very present. So really strong. I mean, 925s. I'm curious what these 925 winds. Let's take a look at 925. Still 47 knots at 925. Rather impressive. Rather impressive. Yeah, just impressive soundings, to be honest. Continue, no, I haven't looked since earlier today, and everything I've looked at since earlier today has only confirmed my belief that they're going to be a pretty strong tornado outbreak. So just impressive, an impressive event this is going to be from a meteorological perspective. But it's probably going to be a sad day tomorrow for a lot of people living in the Dixie Alley and so parts of the deep south. This area right here should have used a different color. This is this this area right here better be ready tomorrow. Y'all better be ready. This is gonna be a significant event. Dog was dreaming right there. I've noticed a lot of people. I really haven't even looked at radar yet either. A lot of people just go straight to this, since it doesn't necessarily make them really good forecasters. If you just try to look at the radar and try to make it look like supercells. That is a super contaminant. Sorry for this pause there. But that was a super contaminating sound, meaning the denture growth film, we should not be getting big omega values, and it can kind of distort distort the sounding. You can see these little lima bees, those still, I mean, messed with you. But regardless, we can still, I mean, we're still late in the night here. This is not a super messy storm mode, according to the HR, which is we don't we're still in a relatively discrete storm mode. That means we're still, and then we're going to take advantage. The scroll mode has to turn on. We can still take advantage of the environment. Still take advantage of the environment, whatever's left. We're still going to have pretty supportive kinematics still. Uh, this is a we don't want to use reflectivity on the on the model as the end all be all, but still impressive. Let's take a little bit earlier. I mean, yeah, there could be some big time supercells and be just super contaminated. So yet again, can all these soundings not be contaminated or not? No, HR does not. Let's take a look at the loops. You see these little kinks here in the photographs. It's an indicator. That's another indicator you can look at for potentially strong tornadoes. It's more than just this thing PDS tour. There's more that goes into it in the sounding. Uh, we talked about it. 13 to 1500 joules from surface to mid-level cape. Really small cap. Uh, not a huge problem, but also almost not a problem. And in fact, a benefit with 68-degree dew points, and also, I mean, ridiculous kinematics here, 400 to 530 with our velocity values, just super impressive. Again, this is going to be a kinematic driven event, meaning this is we're going to have strong wind shear values, and that's going to help support our tornado outbreak tomorrow, and probably hopefully hopefully not the reason people lose their lives, but sometimes there's nothing you can do about it when we get events that are uh, this big time. Like this is like moderate high risk losing my voice because I haven't talked with a lot of passion. If I don't talk with passion, I just strip my voice. There we go. Point is, moderate, high risk, excuse me, regardless of moderate or high risk, you got to treat this like you got to treat this like a serious life threatening situation, which is going to be very much going to be. This is not something you want to mess around with tomorrow if you're living or you know anybody living in these areas. This is, I mean, it's hard for me to see how this isn't going to be a discreet. I mean, I can see how, but it's hard for me when I envision this event taking place that it's not going to be a discrete storm mode with strong kinematics, supportive, supportive instability for this tornado outbreak. It's going to be we have plenty of wind shear to get the job done, but also not enough instability to ruin the storm mode. When I say ruin the storm mode, in a bad way or in a good way, in a good way for tornadoes, in a bad way for people. For It's a clearer way to put it. I mean, I guess we need 3K. Right? 3K is going to be better for severe, a little bit better. At least. Yes, I guess from here. Yeah, little bit more messy, but not. I mean, it gets obviously it gets messier as the night goes on, but man, this is a lot of discrete supercells here on this neighborhood. Really prevalent of a cap. Looks like the name has a little bit more of a cap, at least at this time frame. So that minus 211, yeah, not a lot of instability at this point. Curious. That's a surprising location for a lot of instability. So it even looks like we're gonna have some cells pop tonight. So morning convection. It's like almost early afternoon convection. Regardless, it's not super uncommon with some of these events. A lot of times, I don't. It doesn't look like any of these are looking to ruin the storm mode, though. Yeah, just a lot of different soundings we pulled tonight. A lot of them are pretty indicative of this being this is it's about as severe as it gets when it comes to ironically severe weather, but tornado outbreaks. This is not a derecho. This is going to be a tornado-driven moderate risk. It helps tell people to treat it like a high risk if they understand the storm prediction, how the storm prediction center works. Then so be it. That may have been sensitive right there, but it's not something on my mic. Uh, Regardless, you gotta get this is very serious, very serious. Uh, and I may not have, tried to go all out with hype and stuff because that's just not really how I'm doing. I'm just breaking down what the atmosphere or what models are trying to depict the atmosphere as. So, the point in me trying to hype this up, they speak for itself. The, what's projected between between the models and what the storm prediction center is taking in from the models and how they're evaluating, either real-time analysis. Uh, Everything is real supportive uh, for a significant tornado outbreak, which is not good news tomorrow for this. And the scroll tool is going to be the end of me, man. It's going to be the end of me. This area right here tomorrow is in store for what will be a memorable tornado outbreak, likely for many. Um, and again, it can go wrong. We talked about where it can go wrong, but I don't know. I Where we would look at this event go wrong. The soundings we looked at tonight only confirmed a lot my belief that I don't see this going wrong. I think um, maybe the kinematics are a little bit less. And when I say go wrong for what's the forecast, not go wrong for the sanity of people living in this location, which I think that states itself that we don't want people's homes destroyed by tornadoes. Uh, it's a hard line that a lot of storm chasers have to walk when they come to taking in severe weather, watching Mother Nature's beauty, but destruction that comes with it. So, I hope we get tornadoes in open fields. It's kind of the hope because we're not going to be able to avoid tornadoes. Tomorrow there will be, even if it's not what we think it will be. Um, there's going to be tornadoes tomorrow, regardless. So figuring out how many and how strong they will be is the other key. But there will be tornadoes tomorrow, so hopefully they go in low populated areas and fields. Um, Take out some of those trees, and that's what we got to hope for because this is going to be a pretty prevalent event. It's not going to just vanish. It's not quite how it works with severe weather. I mean, it either happens or there's a reason it didn't happen. But the storm itself, the storm system is not like vanishing or something. So we can't just make it magically go away. But this is about as serious as it gets, folks. 4 to 5 on the storm prediction center level for for a tornado-driven moderate risk. Um, I think that states itself right there. And anywhere, I want to make it clear, anywhere, anywhere in the tornado risk, given the kind of event we're talking about, can can see a significant tornado tomorrow, meaning a strong tornado, EF2 plus tornado. Really, anywhere in that area we can get. It's just these areas have the best shot according to the Storm Prediction Center, and that matches up where most people are thinking. It's hard to get tornadoes along the coast. Possible, it's possible, but that marine layer can kind of work its magic and prevent that from happening a lot of times. That's why inland uh, inland terrain does sees more tornadoes than people along the coast. Not that people along the coast can't see tornadoes, very well can. It's just people further inland are better shots for tornadoes. A lot of times, not always. Hurricane, it's a little bit different. I should say, especially hurricanes. Yep. Hatched area for tornado. Still will probably be strong wind too, regardless. There will be strong wind tomorrow. And there will also be the chance for some pretty severe hail, probably some 1 to 2 inch plus hail. We'll have a good shot at occurring tomorrow as well. And the time frame, which I guess I should discuss as well, is the afternoon. Really, anytime in the afternoon through the evening into the nighttime hours. Uh, that is that is the highest. That is the peak of the event, and that's when the event is happening. Anytime in the afternoon, through the wee hours of the morning. It's technically Wednesday, but tomorrow is where our threat is in terms of timing, and we've gone over location. So we know that we know location, but timing is tomorrow p.m. It is the timing tomorrow for this event, and probably the peak time frame I would say is anywhere from 3 to 12, probably our peak time frame. I don't want to try to pin down like a super peak time frame, like a 3 hour time frame, but I would say 3 to 12 tomorrow is probably the peak time for this event. It doesn't take away from the fact we're still gonna have a shot into those early morning hours across uh, north north northeastern Mississippi, Tennessee, uh, north central Alabama. All still gonna have a shot to see significant tornadoes um, across these areas and potential for some long track tornadoes as well. So not just significant tornadoes that are on the ground for maybe a minute. We're talking potentially long track tornadoes that are moving on the ground for 5, 10, 15 minutes that could really produce some significant damage. This is not the kind of day you want to be meandering around and doing chores in the afternoon across the Dixie Alley. You want to hunker down. You want to hunker down if you live in these areas tomorrow. I think that was our first ever severe weather stream. So I'll give myself a little pat on the back for finally manning up, um, facing my fears. Facing my fears. I don't have any fear, but it's true. You don't want to look like a fool. The severe weather community is arguably the biggest. I'd say severe weather, tropical, big hurricane community. But I'd say storm chasing community and the winter community are probably the two biggest. And you can make a case that the severe weather community is the biggest, the storm chasing community is the biggest when it comes to people who really know their stuff. Winter, there's a lot more enthusiasts than actual well enthusiasts who aren't amazingly bright. A lot of people like that in the winter weather because you don't need to be to follow snow. You just measure the snow and that's it. That's all that happens during a snowstorm. So I try not to. I don't want to make a fool out of myself. I'm not as bright as a lot of these people are, but I understand what it takes to get tornado outbreaks. I have a good sense. It's not like I'm dumb. I'm an idiot. I know how to describe this and explain this in a way for people to understand, especially for people that don't know a lot of what I'm talking about. Also for people that that do know a lot about severe weather and maybe are interested more in hearing my thoughts. So it was less of that, more breaking down. I mean, I do give some of my thoughts based on what I'm seeing. You kind of based on the analysis I'm doing, you kind of have to give some thoughts on what I'm talking about. But I had, what we came away with, we only confirmed belief in that this is going to be a high powered tornado outbreak tomorrow, and I just don't think we're going to see that fast take place. I just don't, for the reasons we described multiple times already throughout the stream. So I appreciate the two people that stayed through. I should have done this a little bit earlier, but was busy tonight. Got all the stuff there to take care of, but it is what it is. I want to do it like an hour earlier, but it's fine. Again, it is what it is. So I appreciate everyone that came in, even though I don't think a single person commented, but that's perfectly fine. If you come in, you just want to enjoy or just take in what I'm talking about, not enjoy, but try to get informed of what I'm talking about, or you want to just hear my thoughts or maybe you were unimpressed. You came in, and we're hoping for something more high level. Regardless, I appreciate the one that came in and do a stream tomorrow night. But I do appreciate everyone that did come in into the stream tonight. And we'll probably do some live coverage tomorrow, not necessarily streaming, but on Twitter, I'll probably keep you guys posted with some of the big time tornadoes. We'll follow along on to see what happens. But yeah, that's all I got. I appreciate everyone that came in again, like I mentioned. But this is going to be significant tornado outbreak, very likely. Well, I don't see any way around it. Well, I do, but I don't see any likely way around it tomorrow. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Peace out.